Reading Kings. This week is my special subject. I'm a true crime junkie and wanted to find an obscure case that really stands out. It fits in the murder mystery theme, not as a whodunit, but more of how this sort of crime even happens and why. For this one, I will say it is pretty gruesome, so personal discretion is advised. If gore isn't your thing, that's fine. It's not Sammy's thing, but she's stuck here.
I'm stuck in the middle as well. So.
Yeah, you are.
Right, Malcolm.
So this is a local case, as it happened not far from us in Loxton. Do you know Loxton?
I don't know that,
It's
no.
like between here and Weston-super-Mare, so it's about an hour away. Just under an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that brings us to the tale I call the Eyeless Evil.
The Eyeless Evil.
Eyeless Evil.
Eyeless.
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 Why are you
No,
saying
it's
different? I'm saying
slip-
it exactly the
Slipknot.
same every time.
Eyeless, not I'm less.
Eyeless.
Eyeless.
It's how you said it.
Definitely
threw me off.
isn't. Eyeless.
You heard mine here.
I'm hearing eyeless.
Okay.
What are you here? What am I saying? Eyeless.
As in like a name, like Iris.
Iris. Evil. Evil Iris.
Evil little eyeless.
Eyeless, as in eyeless.
Maybe it's because I say it like I.
What am I saying?
I.
You're like a loser fucking bus at this point.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Anyway.
Eyeless.
What?
Eyeless.
What?
I don't know.
More mouth?
No mouth. Mouthless.
Nose more.
What do you call no idea?
Right.
That's
What did he say? What did he say?
You tried to say a joke, but you said the.
I said the punchline straight away. Yeah, what do you call no idea? A deer with no eyes? I'm going to take myself out in a minute. I'm
God's
done.
sake.
Yeah, just be gone. Anyway, sorry.
Good evening.
I'm ring keating rings.
We are the Grim Reading.
Sure, let's do it.
Keep saying like I do apologise. I've got a metronome. What's that?
So I'm not 100% sure on the names in this, so I'm just going to try. So first we have Frank Tyarks. Some people call him Tarks, so maybe I'll just say that.
Sounds like a Cornish name.
Yeah. He had quite the life. He went to sea at 15 with the Royal Navy, but had to resign when his oldest brother passed away. He returned home to become his father's business partner at Schroders, which over the next 50 years Frank transformed into the world's leading merchant bank. A biology called The Forgotten Banker, The Remarkable Life of Frank Cyril Tarks. What did I just say? There is a biology called The Forgotten Banker, The Remarkable Life of Frank Cyril Tarks. And a lot of the information came from Frank's granddaughter, Henrietta, Duchess of Bedford. Which I didn't know there was a Duchess of Bedford.
No.
It's very close, isn't it?
Interesting. Frank married Emmy Maria Franziska Broderman in her home of Germany on November 18th, 1899. He was 25 and she was a year younger. They returned to England and brought back with them Friederike Alwine Maria Bulls, known as Maria.
God.
Thank God, honestly. Who would be a lady's maid to Emmy. The couple went on to have 5 children who grew up with Maria. Maria worked for Emmy for many years, but at the start of World War II, Maria, being German, was no longer allowed to work in the UK and had to leave. Emmy's health deteriorated, and so Frank soon hired another lady's maid, a registered nurse from London called Noreen O'Connor. Noreen looked after Emmy until her death on 27th of July 1943 at 67. Maria turned when the war ended. However, Noreen would stay on with Frank, who was confined.
He was so ripped.
Defining. No, he was confined to a wheelchair since a hunting accident, and so Noreen cared for him. She would become more of a companion to Frank. She would be his chauffeur and also help him with his work. In 1945, Frank purchased Gardine, a 6-bedroom cottage in Loxton, for Noreen, along with a trust fund of £20,000 and some cars. Frank passed away on April 7th, 1952, at 78. Noreen moved into Gardein soon after, along with Noreen getting a lot in Frank's will. He also asked for Maria to be looked after, and so Noreen insisted she came to live with her at Gardein. Maria had suffered a stroke and had a broken leg after a fall, and so when she moved in, Noreen cared for her. They also had a housekeeper, Ava Simmons. Simple to the point name.
All the rest have been so difficult, even the cottage name.
Ooh, I thought my name was bad. Maria was in her 70s and frail. She had suffered another stroke and so was confined to her bedroom and mostly to her bed. The housekeeper would come by in the morning to bring her breakfast and again in the evening. In between, Noreen looked after her. Sadly, Maria would be found dead on September 1st, 1954, which with her ill health wouldn't have come as too much of a surprise, if not for the fact that she had been found on her bedroom floor with horrific injuries.
Oh dear.
A court case and inquest would follow Maria's death. Noreen's friend and colleague, as they worked as co-directors of the Limelight Company in Cheddar, gave a detailed statement from the day before the murder. Noreen came to his office to meet for lunch. He asked her about her business trip to Plymouth she had just returned from. Her response was unusual. To start with, she stated that she sang the whole way there in the car until she had nearly been killed when the driver of the car she was travelling in almost crashed.
Grassed her in.
Almost crashed, and she was sure that the passenger in the car had wanted her dead. Noreen and the friend she was travelling with were meant to dine at a French cafe, but instead they ended up at a hotel, and the table they were shown to happened to be the table Noreen had sat at on her last visit, joined by Frank Tarks.
What?
That's cute.
Yeah. Noreen said Jack had guided... Jack?
Who's Jack?
Frank. Just randomly. Noreen said Frank had guided them there, so she could have the best. She also said Frank was with her every single day. She spoke of staff members working at the hotel, saying she could see the goodness of their souls in their eyes. Her friend said it was difficult to understand what she was saying, and she seemed somewhat delusional. She would leave but return later in the evening, but still seemed the same. Noreen had asked if she had been acting okay, and before he could answer her, she added that if she had not, she would be soon, as the evil was dead. She then began singing the Easter hymn, the words being, "The strife is o'er, the battle is won." Before Noreen left, he asked if he would see her the next day, and she replied, "I don't know where I shall be tomorrow. I feel so happy I might go anywhere." Even with this statement, it was hard to believe what had happened. Frank and Emmy Tark's son, Peter, would reveal more about the strange events. He had received a phone call from Noreen at 7:20 a.m. on September 1st. She told him something awful had happened to Maria. Peter tried to get information from her. He lived in Dorset and so was a long while away. Noreen told him she couldn't talk about it over the phone, and so Peter made the drive to Gardein. Before he arrived, Ava Simmons, the ladies' housekeeper, arrived at 8:15. She noticed Maria's curtains were closed, which was never the case. She asked Noreen if Maria was okay, and she would say something terrible had happened to her. She said she had been awake all night tending to her, and Ava made her breakfast, and Noreen went for a lie down. Ava believed Maria had suffered another stroke, and so decided not to make her breakfast that day and left soon after. Peter arrived at the house at 10 a.m. Noreen was led on the sofa. He asked her what had happened, and she responded, "But surely you already know." He sat and spoke with her. She said she had heard strange noises coming from Maria's room. She was confined to her bed, so noises
What a nose.
noises of drawers and doors opening startled Noreen. She entered Maria's room to investigate. As she went to her bed and touched the sheets, she felt an electric shock. She went back to the bedroom door and felt it again. Noreen spoke of her fear for the woman. She wanted to protect her and so sat by her bedside, holding her hand and praying. While she did so, she heard voices coming from Maria's mouth that were not her voice.
Ooh.
First.
The two spoke. Peter and Noreen spoke for around 45 minutes. Noreen then started to talk about the evil in the room. She said every time Maria would look in a certain corner, she could see the evil there in her eyes. Noreen's next statement caused Peter to call Dr. Cooper, not from the Big Bang Theory. That would be absolutely insane.
Jordan!
Who arrived to the two, and Peter explained what he had been told. Dr. Cooper would be the one to enter the room and find Maria dead on the floor. The doctor and Peter decided to travel to the police station, as phones back then still had switchboards, and they thought it would be best that nothing was overheard. The policeman came to the house with Dr. Cooper. Peter stayed with Maria, who they all struggled to get an explanation from. She was asked if Maria was dead, and she replied, "It isn't Maria who is dead, it is the evil that is in her." The whole time, Noreen was acting elated, almost happy about the events that had occurred. The police found a blood-stained towel in the bathroom, along with some of Noreen's clothing. Noreen had no marks on her, apart from a brownish one on her arm. She wasn't... Oh my god, you scared me there. His nose just appeared on my hand. She was immediately arrested and stayed quiet into the evening. When she would start repeating prayers, she then started to move the furniture around and became violent. When the doctor arrived to her cell, she was screaming prayers as she had been for several hours. By 10 p.m. she became tired and started to calm, but by the next day things were very much the same. Police found skin under Maria's nails with a clump of hair that also belonged to Noreen. Many witnesses would take the stand and all said the same thing about Noreen. She was caring, kind, friendly and competent. They said the two women lived together happily and on friendly terms, while Noreen cared for Maria purely out of the kindness of her heart, and so it was clear they would not find a motive. Maria was in Frank's will. However, she was not left anything. He simply asked for her to be taken care of, and so Noreen asked her to move in with her so she could take care of her. Noreen seemed to genuinely care about Maria and wanted to help her. She had felt she was in trouble and under the threat of evil and had somewhat... Wait, what? Under the threat of evil and had somewhat she thought... I don't know what that bit says. I'm just going to leave it. She had felt she was in trouble and under the threat of evil. Enough said. In an address to the jury, it was said that to inflict these horrible injuries was something completely foreign to the nature of this accused woman. It was also mentioned that Maria would have been unconscious when her injuries took place and did not suffer as she would have suffered. The court case lasted for 2.5 hours. Noreen pleaded not guilty. The judge made it clear to the jury that with the evidence shown, they would have no doubt that Noreen was responsible for this crime, but he wanted them to carefully consider the second part of the case. He said she may have known what she was doing, but she did not know it was wrong. That is so. And added that if they thought she was guilty, then he advised them that the proper verdict would be guilty but insane. The jury did not retire and only took 1 minute to agree to the verdict of guilty but insane. Noreen was taken to Broadmoor, the prison... Yeah.
Bronson.
Yeah, the prison inmates mostly suffer with severe mental health problems, and the likes of the Yorkshire Ripper, Ronnie Cray, Robert Maudsley, known as Hannibal the Cannibal, and of course Charles Bronson. And so by this point, the last thing to know is the actual injuries that had been inflicted. In Maria's post-mortem, it was decided that she died due to shock. She had a bruise on the back of her that made it clear she had been unconscious and had not felt these injuries. The doctor found that Maria's upper lip was ripped, showing her gums. One of her nostrils was also torn open. She had a swollen and bloody hand that she clutched Noreen's hair in. But the worst of all were her eyes. When Peter had driven to Gardein and asked Noreen what she had done to Maria, she had told him that the evil in her eyes became so strong that she had plucked them out.
Oh my god.
But you like that?
Oh, I know, this was a hard one to tell.
Oh.
Both of Maria's eyelids were completely torn, and her eyes were no longer visible. They were completely pushed in and sunken into her skull.
What, as if someone's like...
God.
I think she went like that and pushed
Yeah,
them all the way
like
in.
in,
Game of Thrones.
I
Django.
think her eyes were closed, and she's ripped through the eyelids to do it.
But they said that she was dead when this
Yeah,
happened.
so she was in her bed. She somehow ended up on the floor, and I think when she was pulled from the bed, she hit her head on the floor and it knocked her unconscious.
Okay, and then...
So she didn't feel this. Thank God.
Yeah.
One of Maria's teeth was also found on the floor in the room, and it was believed it had been removed after she had died. This bizarre crime would never get an answer. The doctors believed Noreen was suffering from acute mania, and most people truly believed Noreen was trying to save Maria from the evil that was trying to harm her. Noreen stayed in prison for a few years before moving to a hospital where she later passed away in 1984. The horrible murder still stays in the minds of the locals in Loxton. Maria was buried in Loxton. Sadly, her grave is unmarked, but a red rose would be seen appearing on the grave regularly. And so this gruesome story comes to an end, but with the thought of a kind and caring nurse turning in one night on an elderly and ailsome woman will stay with many for a long time.
So she did do it then?
She did do it.
But she had an episode?
So it appears that way, but there was no evidence before that anyone said that there were signs that she was going to do this. It seems like it randomly happened in one night.
What was the thing that you said that she suffered with?
They said it could have been acute mania.
Yeah, so what's that? Is that kind of like split personalities? So,
Yeah, I guess so.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you could go into a manic
Personality.
episode.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So
Yeah.
my bit about that is probably the mystery side of it is like she grabbed Noreen's hair and got her skin under her nails.
This is what I thought because...
So she full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she wasn't knocked out straight away.
This is what I thought when I was reading that, because they did say she was knocked out, but... Yeah. But then... if she's pulled her from the bed and she's hurt her, she could be fighting back then, and then she's been knocked out and not felt...
Yeah.
Yeah.
How lucky is it that she passed out and died from shock? Can you imagine waking up with your eyes pushed into your skull? Oh,
No.
That,
No.
anything to do with eyes, that's...
It's my worst bit.
Yeah.
I won't even go to the optician. It took me a very long time to get glasses.
Yeah.
That freaks
Oh
me
yeah,
out.
it was as soon as I found that, I was like, I know I have to tell this story, but I really don't want to tell this story.
There's something about eyes, we're going to skip past this
Yeah.
So anyway, she looked at us. And
bit. Everyone was happily after. So that's what pisses me off, because what if this woman was just like biding her time? She's like, one day just felt she was going to kill her, and then
See-
she's got off by a mental disorder.
This is what I thought, but because I was like, when she said the day before, I don't know where I'll be. I could be anywhere. I was like, maybe she wanted to get rid of Maria so she could actually go and do anything. But there was no reason that Maria was living with her, apart from that Noreen wanted her there.
Yeah.
And she went to prison and then to hospital and then died. So she didn't go off and have a big, like, use all of this money and have a great life. She was genuinely in a hospital until she died.
maybe she loved the guy.
Yeah, Frank, because she said
I was going to
that
say
he
Jack
was-
because you said
I
Jack.
know.
No, it's not Jack.
Yeah, I thought that
Frank.
as well, because she said, like, it came across that she was, like, you know.
Yeah, maybe it was like, oh, I'm doing this for him.
Yeah, and it seems like they did, they
not kill
were
her,
seeing
but
each
yeah.
other as well. It seemed like more companion, like. But I think probably at that time, because he was a widow and he was a lot older than her, she was in her 40s,
Okay.
and he was in his
70s.
60s
Oh.
or 70s when he died.
Yeah, well, 70s when he died.
Yeah,
So,
so, yeah.
That's like not really a way to the man's heart, I believe. I don't know. I never
Also,
really.
he had already died, so there was no way to
Yeah.
his heart apart from digging him out.
True.
This is for you, Mr. David. I'm gonna gouge your wife's eyes out.
It
Or
was his
in.
nurse.
Yeah,
His nurse.
The
His
nurse.
old nurse that he loved.
yeah.
I liked.
And now, oh my.
Yeah.
So, does this house exist? The cottage they moved
Oh yeah,
into?
I'd love
I
to go and see
think
it.
so. I think it's called something else now. It was called Gardine.
What was the place called where it happened?
Gardine.
Garden.
No, that's the house.
Lockleys?
Oh, Loxton.
Loxton, wow.
Where's Lockleys though? I'm
I don't
intrigued.
know. It comes to my head for some reason then.
Is it Lockstone?
Loxton.
Oh,
Loxton.
Lockstone.
Loxton.
And also, I think Loxton, anyone from Loxton, they need to be doing other things because as soon as you type in Loxton, it's like, this murder, the murder, the murder.
Have you heard about the murder?
Has anything else nice happened there? No, just murder.
Where is it? Just
By Axbridge.
just off the M5.
You know where the hunting lodge is, Axbridge.
Oh
So
yeah.
there.
That's Noreen.
She looks well fancy.
She is
She does
cool.
look fancy, doesn't she?
Right, and then so I can see the church. Is that a church? Oh, no, that looks like a manor house, if anything. Did you search the house? Is it still about?
Not really, no.
Yeah. I bet if you've found pictures of it, you'd be able to go and find it,
Yeah, maybe.
investigate.
So if it's a cottage, it should still be there.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else gets this, but when you hear a story and you're like, oh, I know that's just down here. I like to go and see where
Yeah.
stuff has happened.
Yeah, it's weird.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
interesting to me. And obviously you guys as well, because otherwise why are we friends?
exactly.
Exactly. You just want to see where death happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Death, bring me death.
like people want to get. I want to go to Auschwitz, but like, it's such a. I've heard it's such an awful place.
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially when, like-
everyone cries that goes there, basically.
yeah, how could you not?
I'd be
really?
bawling.
Especially if like spiritually open.
I was just about to say that. Imagine you had a medium that went there and they could just feel all the pain.
Just
And...
pushed her in a room and locked her behind her. Have fun.
Do you know what? It's really
No.
creepy about that. Being a medium or being someone that can see ghosts and spirits and stuff. Imagine if the spirits touched you. So say, but oh, you can imagine just all these hands,
Oh,
just
just-
please, oh, you can see me, oh,
Ugh.
reaching out for help. I don't know. That's
What's that off? There's like a scene somewhere that happens. Things come on TikTok. There's like this misty shadow monster comes in this cafe and it's just going up to people's faces and trying to provoke them. Then the bloke behind the counter sees it and it turns at him and recognises him and goes up to his face. He's there just looking through it nope, can't see you. I can't see you.
No.
no, because there definitely is some evil going on there as well because of all the trauma that happened there. So there must be evil spirits as well. They feed off that, don't they?
Yeah. Well, the build up to that murder was energy and weird shit going on, static
true.
from the bed and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I reckon the demons involved in this.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Well, that's what she.
Yeah.
Maybe she was possessed.
Well, this is the thing as well that she said that Maria's voice was different and that
Yeah,
she heard
that's
all of
weird.
these noises, and they'd lived together for 2 years as well. So it wasn't like they moved in and this happened.
Yeah.
Because Maria had another stroke in
Yeah.
those 2 years.
No.
So yeah, it wasn't like it just happened. It was
It does sound like an exorcism.
Weird.
100%.
yeah, but
'Cause
then. I don't know. The logic isn't there. If you rip someone's eyes out, the evil one doesn't go with them.
You sure?
Ah,
I've heard it.
I mean, to be fair, Tom's pretty evil.
Yeah,
He's got
yeah.
evil within.
Yeah.
Rip your eyes out.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
On
Yeah.
next week's episode.
Yeah, we're just going to eat eyeballs all podcast. Did you have cow eyes before? Have you tried that?
No, I haven't.
Do you want some?
I've seen some because I've worked in a butcher's before.
I don't know.
Well, should we get one each next week and just
Place in my front Tamzin.
flick them at her all for the shit?
No, the best thing is putting them in front of her and then poking them
Ugh.
before she watches.
Or to make her a fancy martini, but just a sheep's eye instead. She doesn't realise to get to the bottom of it. Oh, lovely.
Delicious. My favourite. Oh, I love all this.
I hate this.
Yeah. Oh.
Like usual, if you live near Loxton and you know any more about this, I don't know where the unmarked grave is. Is it? I know it's unmarked, but there must be an obvious sign. If there's a red rose put there.
Yeah, that's what I don't. I really don't know.
Did they just
I
put it
really
on a
don't
random
know.
one? Like, I hope this is the one.
It's the fact that it's regularly there. It's not like random. It's always on that one. But then if they attended her funeral or something, they may have seen the headstone because.
Or like an aunt. Maybe she's an aunt to them when they go and visit.
Also, what was weird is that the family had loads of money and they cared for Maria, so I don't know why no one paid for her headstone.
Yeah, what's the reason?
Yeah, unmarked is really harsh because she, was a nurse for years and then murdered.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Murdered in the worst way possible.
Yeah, literally, that is the worst way possible. That's nasty.
I wonder if, once she got knocked out, like if she would have woke up and been fine, or that her knockout was the beginning of her passing away. Or the injuries was.
I think probably her ill health as well. It sounds awful, but it probably helped that she'd had 2 strokes and probably couldn't feel a lot.
True.
Yeah.
And the pain, your body's response is to just shut down, isn't it?
Yeah.
After a certain amount of time, you just can't deal with the pain anymore. You just go to sleep.
Yeah.
So what a great way out.
So technically shock.
Yeah.
Well, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Like you said, so yeah.
Lovely story.
Lovely. Thank you for that.
Let's have nice dreams about that one.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Our upload days are Monday to podcast and Patreon, and Friday to YouTube.
Woohoo!
And we upload on TikTok as well.
What's Thursday? Something was happening on Thursday.
Oh, we upload our shorts.
There you go.
So the trailer for YouTube.
Yeah.
But also, TikTok and that we upload randomly, so look out for that. And usually it's stuff that you haven't seen in our actual videos and podcasts because it's all the crap that we edit out.
Yeah.
And Tamzin does her fancy editing on to make it funny.
Yeah.
Because we're not funny otherwise.
There's a lot of heavy editing. Made this thing run.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you
See
for
you next
listening.
time.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye now. Bye.